Hey, it's Enrico Pallazzo.
Utah, give me 2.
Pallazzo.
What is up, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome into the Fantasy Friends Friday. Joined with me today is Marty Party himself, Marty Tallman. Marty, how are we doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. If I drop out of nowhere, that's because in Detroit, Michigan, there are 60-mile-an-hour winds currently outside. So our power has been in and out all day today. But I'm good. All my power's here. I'm ready.
Good deal. I'm super pumped to have you on, man. It's been a minute since we talked some fantasy baseball. So really happy to have you on today's show. I really quickly wanted to check in with you before we get into our meat of the show today. How many drafts are you doing? How many have you completed? How's your TGFBI team going? What are you currently working on? All that good stuff.
These are all great questions. I'm going to say currently, I think I finished 8 drafts.
Okay.
And I'm in the middle of, I'm round 26th in TGFBI right now. I will say this, and I actually tweeted this a few days ago. Yeah. I truly do have the hardest league. I don't care what anyone says. Every time because I'm on the end, I picked overall, sure, number 1 overall, right? So
yep, that's
when you really have to go get your guys. Like, you don't have a choice. You cannot wait for runs. You will be, you'll never get anybody. So it forces you to, like, next thing you know, Matt Chapman, I need him in the 7th round because there is a huge drop off after him. But long story short, I've been sniped so many different times. And so my TGFBI team turned into a team that I never thought I'd have, but actually still like it.
Good. Did you take Shohei number 1?
I did. Yep.
Nice. Good deal. Yeah. I know some people who like Bobby Witt in that spot. Judge, I think it's just personal preference, but I think that the slam dunk every year has to be Shohei Ohtani, despite him being util. But I think you got to go there.
Yeah. I am a little worried because of the pitching. I think that's going to take away from this. I don't think he's going to steal as many bases. I'm expecting around 20, 25 steals.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it makes him a lot more injury prone too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more risk with Ohtani being a full-time pitcher, as you can only use him, in one slot at a time. So I don't have any problem with someone going Judge or Witt. I don't even mind a Soto, if you're feeling it.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't hate it.
What other picks in TGFBI did you like in terms of value, or just in terms of your build overall? What are some of your highlights there? So
this just goes for me throughout draft season. Adley Rutschman, 10th, 11th round. I'm looking at him to be my C2. I have a lot of Will Smith, and I understand he does have a little bit of a cap because he won't be able to fill DH because of Ohtani. So he won't be able to max out his plate appearances, but he almost bat 300 last year. He's going to bat 5th in that lineup. The RBIs, the runs are going to be there. And he can probably get you 20 homers, 25 if everything breaks right. So a lot of Will Smith, a lot of Adley Rutschman. I waited too long on second base. I got Otto Lopez.
Okay.
I needed 15
I don't hate that,
steals. No.
He could go 15-15 or 15-20.
That's what I'm hoping.
Like, no problem, dude. I don't see that being an issue, especially that lineup being a year older, hopefully a little bit better as well. I don't think it's a bad pick at second base at all.
Yeah, he went 15-15 last year, batted 252, so you'll take it.
Yeah.
I got a lot of bets too. I got him in Glarf, and now I got him TGFBI. 4th round, Mookie Betts as your shortstop. Shortstop is really deep though. When I did take bets, 5 rounds later, Dansby Swanson's right there. And I'm like, and then you start doing that mental math. Like, well, what happens if I would have took, and then you drive yourself nuts. Like, maybe I should have got Maikel Garcia, whatever. But yeah, just to round it off, and we'll be talking about him as well. Mickey Moniak. I think I got him on almost every team, man.
Oh, wow. That's we're a Rockies podcast. We love talking Rockies on this show. So I think we've talked about literally all of them except Mickey Moniak. So what do you like about Mickey Moniak? You think he'll be the starting center fielder there, left fielder? I can't remember where he plays.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be platooned.
Yeah.
Right. So I can actually get in one of our, if you want to introduce our topic, we'll be doing targets because he's one of them. So I'll just hop right into it.
Sure.
Well, let's start last year, or actually, no, let's step even a few years back. So number 1 overall pick, like literally the number 1 overall pick. So the prospect pedigree has always been there. We just know, I mean, anytime you're on the Angels, development does not happen for players on the Angels. It's just
correct.
It's just something that has not happened. So now he's 27. Last year he hit a career high 24 home runs, 68 RBI, 62 runs, 9 stolen bases. He slashed 270, 306, 518, 461 plate appearances, which was also a career high. I mean, a 497 X slug, nearly a 14 barrel rate, 28 and a half foot sprint speed. He's in the 80th percentile there. Now, the biggest thing, he probably will be platooned. And this is something that I think Jeff Zimmerman or someone who has a little bit better of a mind than me, I could do it, but it'd probably take me way longer. We need to get the stats of every major platoon bat, and we need to seriously dive in, because the first thing people say is, oh, he's a platoon bat. But what happens if you're the best platoon bat? And there's 40 platoon bats all sprinkled out the starting lineups in the Major League Baseball.
Yep.
We're going to be, with maybe in a year or two, like saying someone is a platoon bat won't mean as much, because almost every single person is going, not every single person, but more and more now people are being platooned. So I'm less concerned about, I think he gets the 500 plate appearances if he's healthy, you know, and if he does that, he can hit you 30 bombs.
In that ballpark too. I mean, like you said, he wasn't far off from that last year as well. I know they added Jake McCarthy, and hopefully nobody in my TGFBI league is watching, because that's probably going to be my next pick, and then I pick in the next 2 or 3.
I got him in my queue in mine.
Yeah, so I like him in that lineup. Hopefully he hits at the top of the lineup. I'd be interesting to see how they work both those guys in.
He'll DH a lot.
Yeah,
he's going to be their 4th hitter. He's going to be
okay.
right, and they expect him to do the damage.
Right.
You know, so he's going to bat 3rd or 4th. He'll play, you know, the corner outfields, a little bit of center, but I see him DHing most of the time, because you still have you have Josh Beck there. You still have McCarthy, Brenton Doyle. So it's a crowded outfield of all, like almost like 2020 players, like potentially. Right. So I think overall, just the Rockies outfield is being undervalued, because you can get Jordan back way back there, and he can get a 2020 bat in 250.
Yep. Yeah, totally agree. And that's why we joke about it, because we talk a lot about Rockies on this podcast quite frequently, especially during the season. You know, we had, if you remember, Marty, too, we like that year we had Nolan Jones. He was great. Then we had Brenton Doyle. He was great. And then it was Hunter Goodman last year. We always have one of these diamonds in the rough for the Rockies. Is this year the Rocky to own? Is the Rocky to own indeed Mickey Moniak?
It better be, because I got him on almost every team.
There you go. Yeah, I like that. I like the pick, dude. I think that's a solid one. There's a lot to like here. Age 27, playing in cores. You know, should hit somewhere in the first third of that lineup as well. So plenty of RBI chances. He's got plenty of pop, especially if you wait on power late in drafts. This is a guy that you can target as your 4th or 5th outfielder, maybe even 3rd. But a 270 batting average, Marty, with 24 home runs, I'll take that every day of the week, man.
Yep, especially where he's going. Yeah,
absolutely. One of the guys that I wanted to talk about really quick, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this one, is like Mickey Moniak for you. A player that I think I own in most of my drafts. I've drafted 6 leagues so far. I got 2 this weekend, and I got another one the following weekend. So I'll be in total of 9 leagues this year. That's 1 down from 10 last year, Marty. So I told myself I wanted to cut back, and I thought it was going to be a lot more than that. But yeah, it's a slow trickle. So anyways, out of the 6 leagues I've drafted so far, I have 4 shares of him, is Max Meyer of the Miami Marlins. Off to an incredible start with spring training, 12 Ks, 0 walks, 0.58 whip, 0 ERA. If you remember correctly, last year too, he had a 14K game last year. This was the number 3 overall pick by the Marlins back, I believe, in 2020 or 2021. So the upside is there. He just needs to stay healthy. I think that's been his main thing. And then obviously limiting the walks. The K potential is there. I like him as a strikeout guy much later in drafts. Now, you're banking on the health, but he should have a rotation spot, especially after the way he's been pitching this spring. Do you have any shares of Max Meyer, or do you have any strong thoughts about him either way?
I do have 1 share of him, and I think that he's currently healthy. He is currently in line to start in the starting rotation for the Marlins. These are all good things, and not something that we've been able to really say about him.
Right.
The prospect pedigree is there. I am worried about the walk percentage. and this isn't his fault, but he hasn't had an opportunity to fine tune his pitches.
Right.
And like he has a 97 stuff plus overall. So nothing really stands out. So he's going to really have to be able to locate his pitches as much as possible. But hopefully that can lead to more ground balls. I think that's what you're going to need for him to get as many ground balls as possible. Cause I'm looking, a 142 whip 2 years in a row, but a 49.7, that's what I thought, 49.7% ground ball rate. So nearly half the time he's keeping the ball on the ground. I do love that. Like you said, nearly a 24% K rate. The walk rate's not as bad as I thought. 7%. That's fine.
Right.
It's in the 68th percentile, so it's not going to kill you.
Right.
If he's your last SP, like in a draft, I love it. You know, if you do you have him in a 15-team league?
Yeah, I have him in TGFBI, and I targeted him, and I'm glad I did. But I think the big thing for me, like you said, is I'm not drafting him to be my SP3 or my SP4. He's at the back end of my rotation, right? And I'm banking on upside. That's what you want later in drafts, and I think that's kind of my focus when I talk about targets is guys that we all know. The guys you're drafting in the first 150 top 100 picks. We know those guys are relatively going to be good, right? It's those guys that you can target later in drafts, and you hope that they take the next step, they figure it out, or they continue to build off of last year or some things that we liked, whatever it may be. But this most recent start, he got 3 Ks on the slider as well. So I think that's a pitch he'll rely heavily on this year too. We all know he's got a good fastball too. So I don't know. That is one of these things where I can look at it and say, would it surprise me if we saw a bunch of strikeouts, at least from Max Meyer, like in a sub-3 ERA, or not sub-3, 3.5 ERA, maybe even higher than that? Wouldn't surprise me on that at all. And again, for me, he just needs to stay healthy. The 14K performance, if you watched any of that game, he just was unhittable. So am I saying he's going to replicate that throughout the entire season? Of course not, but you hopefully get some more flashes of that, and hopefully he can build on that heading into, I believe he's 27 as well. So
let me ask you this. How are you deploying him? And what I mean by that, are you, as he's being SP6, SP7, SP8 territory, you're playing him at home, only at home? Are you playing him on the road? Are you playing him on the road versus versus really good offenses? Where does your confidence end?
Good question.
Max Meyer.
Yeah, good question. I've always said this, and I know this is probably, I'll get burned by this flame, but at the same time too, I'm not a big guy on benching SPs. I don't obviously, if he's facing the Dodgers, that's probably not something I'm willing to take on. But if he's facing a mediocre offense or below that, I'm fine with rolling him out there. I don't know. I think it's one of those things too, where I don't want to have FOMO and miss out if he has a game where he just comes out and shoves. And I've gotten burned by that flame too. So it's kind of like hitting on 16 here, Marty. Either you do or you don't. And for me, I like playing my guys. I'll bank on the upside of Max Meyer. Now, if we've had a couple of games in a row where he's given up 5, 6, 7 earned runs, yanked out of games early, then yeah, maybe I'll sit him on a couple instances. But if he gives me 2 back-to-back outings and his third outing is against somebody like, I don't know, the Cubs, I'm rolling him out there. I'm not sitting him for that. So I think it really depends on how the season's going, what his recent starts look like, and then obviously the matchup. So how do you normally, that's a good question for you, back to you though. How do you normally, not just with Max Meyer, but how do you normally deploy that with other SPs outside of your aces or your 1, 2, 3s?
Yeah. And I'll look to my, my current TGFBI team. I'll look at the back end of my current rotation, and I'll try to just see what I would do here. So Braxton Ashcraft, he's actually one of the guys I'm trying to target him as much as possible. As of right, as of right now, I would start him at every home start as long as it isn't against the top 5 offense. And I would start him against bad teams on the road.
Okay.
So that is, as your SP6, I think that's decent confidence. Casey Mize only at home.
Yeah.
Until I make sure, he's taken a slider, took the next step or whatever it is.
Right.
Cade Cavalli at this point. I really like Cavalli. I'm huge on him this year. I liked everything that I've seen in spring, and he's going to be the starting pitcher on opening day for the Washington Nationals. I'm playing him at home most of the time. I'll play him on the road only against bad teams. So I think that's pretty much my theme then. I'm seeing mostly.
Okay.
Just north of Braxton Ashcraft is Edward Cabrera. I'm playing him everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think especially, too, you got to hope. The same thing with him, though. You got to, one, he stays healthy, but two, he kind of takes the next step. So
he has a tear in his elbow. So
yeah.
It's there. So it's whether or not he's going to rip it open this year. That's I only have him on. I have him on 2 teams, 2 out of 8, which I think is actually too much coverage. So tread lightly with Cabrera, listeners. We don't. It's a tear. He did tear his elbow.
Not a good thing heading into the season, but hopefully, like you said, he can pitch through it and deliver some results for you. Marty, who's the second guy on your list of targets outside of the one you already gave us?
So Drew's Rasmussen. Now I know he's not like far back there, but I think he's very undervalued. I don't mind him being your SP3. He's not going to wow you with strikeouts. He only had 120 across 150 innings last year. Now his strikeout rate was down. I think it's going to increase this year because of the Trop. The Trop really, because of that environment, it really does allow pitcher stuff to play up there. Do you see the lights flickering?
I see that.
I'm telling you, dude, if I drop out,
maybe God didn't like that pick that you just said. He heard you say Drew Rasmussen. He's like, no.
He struck me down.
Right.
But yes, if remember me as I was, if I do fall out. But yeah, so Rasmussen last year, 150 innings, posted a 2.76 ERA, 3.48 xERA, 102 WHIP, 120 strikeouts. The BABIP was high, the left on base percentage was high, but he throws so many ground balls that's going to happen. So when you do, because that's one of the first things I always look to, left on base percentage. And then I look at BABIP, but it depends on what kind of pitcher it is. If it's a heavy ground ball pitcher, that's fine. That's something that can be somewhat maintained. So I don't hold that against them. And I just, he increased his zone percentage. He's throwing the ball in the zone more because his biggest thing with Rasmussen, everyone's worried about his durability. How many, he pitched 150 innings last year. It's a career high. Can he do it again? He's a converted reliever. I think because of the way he pitches, keeps the ball in the zone, he generates weak contact, near 50% ground ball rate, and he only walks 6% of batters. You combine all of those, I think him getting 5, 6, 7 innings per game is very possible, especially when you put him into the Trop. Because the hitter's eyes messed up. The environment lets the pitcher's stuff play up as much as possible. It's basically a hitter's nightmare in there. So we're going to, and I do expect a little bit of drop back from the Rays and their hitters. But yeah, Rasmussen for me, definitely.
Love that. I know there were a couple instances last year. I can't remember. I didn't have many shares of him. I can't remember if it was in the beginning of the season or towards the end of the season where his starts were getting cut short. Where he was like a 3, 4, 5 innings kind of guy, but depends on how many pitches he was throwing, et cetera, et cetera. Any worry there, like you noted, of his 150, that's a career high for him. Is that something that you worry about heading into this year? If you have a lot of shares of him, saying to yourself, like, hey, is it around that 150 or did they let him even go further, 160, 170?
So about 3 years ago, he pitched 146 innings. So he has been in that area before. And we know the Rays, the injuries bite the Rays. But overall, I think the pitching development, I think most would say they know what they're doing. They're one of the better development teams still. Even with such a small budget, they still do it. So I think the way that they used him was to prepare him for being a full-time starter from here on out.
Right.
So 150, I mean, you hear it a lot. 150 is the new 180, right?
That's right.
Innings. So with the way he pitches, and that's a big part of why I brought that up. And this is just funny. And this is to let you know what where I'm at sometimes. Last year, Rasmussen threw 2,316 pitches. I know that's a big number. 2,316. Now, Verlander threw 300 more pitches than him. 300 more, but only pitched 2 more innings.
Wow. That is an interesting stat.
So that puts into perspective the type of pitching Rasmussen is doing. He is going right after every single hitter, and he's keeping the ball on the ground. That's what you want. That's why I'm not worried about his strikeout rate. He's going to really help you out in your ratios, your ERA and your WHIP, it's so hard to maintain those throughout a full season. 100%. Rasmussen can help you a lot there.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And, to your point, he's not going to be a big K guy. Who knows, though? That wouldn't shock anybody because the Rays know how to develop starting pitching, right? But if you draft a guy like Rasmussen, you have to also kind of like what we talk about with guys who have weak batting averages. You got to target a guy who's higher in batting average, right? So somebody who's not helping you out in the K category, you can pair him with somebody who may be maybe not have as great as ratios as Rasmussen, but more of a K guy as well.
Do you know who the perfect pair is?
Let's hear it.
Mackenzie Gore.
I thought you were going to say, I'm not going to give it away yet because I want you, I'm going to let you talk about it, but I thought you were going to mention another starting pitcher, but I love that. Mackenzie Gore. Yeah. And especially playing in that ballpark now with Texas. That's another great, I've seen a lot of people in on him. Govier is in on Mackenzie Gore as well, and rightfully so. I was a huge Mackenzie Gore guy when he was coming up with San Diego, and they just would not pitch the guy for the life of me. I have no idea why, but I like him this year, dude. I'm not saying I didn't like him with Washington last year. I think I had a couple shares, but this year I don't have any shares yet because I keep getting sniped on him. And I think a lot of people are in on him for that reason. Being in Texas has that really sneaky rotation as well. I don't think people realize that heading into this year if everybody can stay healthy. Love Mackenzie Gore. Do you have any shares of him?
I don't have any shares, but I'm not against it. I want him on the squad, but yeah, he gets pushed up maybe 2 rounds than I'm more willing to draft him.
Right.
And this goes back to my original point. No matter what draft I'm in, it seems like with Mackenzie Gore, he's going 2 rounds before his ADP. And that's so I can never guess the right market for Gore.
Right.
So I guess, if you don't know who the sucker in the room is, I guess you're the sucker.
Yeah. I'm with you. I get sniped on him a lot, and I think a lot of people reach on him, and rightfully so. Like I think moving from Washington to Texas is a good spot for him in terms of just keeping the ball in the ballpark. But he should be there. SP3 behind Eovaldi and DeGrom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Right there.
Cool. So real quick on my second guy in terms of the guys that I'm targeting, and again, I'm picking guys who are much later in drafts, and everybody on this show knows it, so I won't spend a lot of time if you're a frequent viewer of us. Off to a really, really good start in spring training. And again, I made a tweet about this the other day. Spring training stats, Marty, only matter when they fit your bias. And
of course,
it fits my bias here in Jordan Lawler, the post breakout sleeper here. Going super late in drafts, going to be their starting center fielder. The prospect pedigree is still there. Shouldn't have any playing time concerns. He looks a lot more comfortable at the plate now. It looks like he's changed up his stance ever so slightly. I can't put my finger on what it is, but so far this spring, he's hitting 323 with 4 homers, 5 RBIs. He's got a 1.174 OPS. So, and people forget, number 6 overall pick back in 2021. I was talking to a couple people on this on Twitter. He's only 23. And a lot of people are like, well, he's been in and out. Marty, would you surprise you to know? It seems like he's been around for a long time. He's only played in, I believe, 42 total major league games. So I think a lot of the times with a lot of people, and rightfully so, like he wasn't great last year. He hit 182 in 66 plate appearances. But would it surprise you to know he's only played in 42 games so far? I think a lot of people are closing his book too soon. And I think this is a guy that you can get later in drafts. I believe he's third base. I can't remember where he is on NFBC, but if you play in Yahoo or ESPN, he'll have outfield eligibility very quickly. So, and this was a shortstop too coming up. So, any thoughts on Jordan Lawler?
So first, he's a third base eligible in
okay, that's what
NFBC.
I thought. Yeah.
So that is surprising that he's only had, he's only popped up in 2 seasons, 34 plate appearances in 2023, did not play in 2024. I think that's part of why it seems like he's been around forever, but he only has, barely over 100. 2025, he had 74 plate appearances. But let's hop down to his minor league stats, because I mean, that's where we're going to see, 1,359 plate appearances. He slashed 298, 395, 515, 49 homers across that with 102 stolen bases. So at each level, at AAA, he had a 414 on base percentage. So looking at in that small amount of playing time, his walk percentage is 8.1. He's going to get better. He's going to get a better eye.
Yeah.
That's going to be better than average. Okay. Yeah. So we'll start there. He's going to be better than average at walking. Everything else, though, it's weird. He doesn't chase, but he also whiffs in a huge amount of time. Mm-hmm. So it's a very weird profile. I think it's fine for where he's going. You're going to have him as your MI in a 15-team league.
Yeah.
Or maybe like maybe a bench piece. I don't know. Maybe your first guy off the bench.
That's where he is right now for TGFBI. He's my MI. I believe so. Or he might be a bench. I don't know.
Well, what do you project him as for this year?
Like in terms of just like a slash line, or what are we talking?
It just 5x5 roto. Let's see homers, stats, and or homers and stolen bases, and then his average.
I think he can give you a respectable batting average. Like last year in 2025, he had 313. Like he's a lifetime 298 hitter in the minors. Am I thinking he's going to get there this year? Of course not. I think he can give you maybe 250, 260 batting average with double-digit pop, double-digit steals. He stole 36 and 39 stolen bases in 22 and 2023, respectively. So his batting average has been respectable literally throughout his entire minor league career. Same thing with his OBP, respectable. So I think he can give you kind of like an Otto Lopez-esque type season with a much higher ceiling than that, obviously. So I don't hate this at all, and I like that ballpark there for him too. And the pressure should be off of him not to come in and to produce right away and save this team. So I don't know. I've always been intrigued by his minor league career, and the guy I'm taking a shot on later in drafts. I'm just buying the upside, honestly. And then obviously the minor league stats are very telling for me, and somebody I can target again as my MI or as a bench bat. I think you can do a lot worse, and you're banking on upside. Remember, in this part of the draft, you want guys who are lottery tickets, and I think Jordan Lawler, with his experience that he had last year, he's guaranteed a role on this team. He's going to be their starting center fielder. He's going to have outfield eligibility if you play in anything outside of NFBC, outfield eligibility and third base eligibility, which is a weak position as is. I think you can do a lot worse. And again, you can't win if you don't play, Marty, and I'm buying my lottery ticket here with Jordan Lawler.
I like it. What I also like too, last year he had a 68.8% contact rate. 68%, that's below average.
Yeah.
So far in spring, 77.6. I know it's a small sample, but I would rather see his contact rate go up than down.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah, we talked about it on here too. Like, spring, a lot of people are not buying the Matt McLain hype, and I love Matt McLain as well, but we won't get into that. But all joking aside, with spring training fitting your biases and all that stuff, Britton brings up a good point too in terms of just SPs or any hitter. It's better playing well in spring training is better than not playing well in spring training, right? Especially if you're targeting these guys that are as late round flyers. I'll take that. Guys like him, a Kobe Mayo type is another guy that I'm interested in with the spring that he's having. Much later in drafts, obviously, I'm not targeting him as a starter, but as a bench bat. And I was lucky to get my hands on him as well. So, but cool. So we've talked about targets, Marty, and I always bring up the dreaded B word. Do you have any busts for us? Any guys that you're maybe staying away from in drafts that you're not drafting, or guys that everyone else is high on that you're not?
Yeah, I have a healthy list. I'm one of the red mark drafters where I go through and I say, nope. I just go through my list. No, I'm not even going to entertain that thought. Now, with that said, there's only going to be a handful of these guys. I am also of the belief that every player has a price. When I scan the ADP, I like every single player for some reason at a certain time for a certain build. So you want to keep just overall for your listeners, just don't cross anybody off necessarily. Don't do it too many times because you never know how it could fit. But you'll see Byron Buxton, number one. And
Okay.
like, I don't need to
I
go
don't hate that.
through,
Yeah.
I don't need to go through a whole list of reasons why. He's an incredible athlete. He's extremely strong. He's very fast, and he plays his ass off. And guys like that hurt themselves. You add in the soft tissue, you add in the oblique. It's just, I think last year was the time to do it. 10th round, 11th round, 12th round, go for it. Buxton, yeah, there's upside there. I think he's going like in the 6th, 7th.
Yeah,
in some
too
drafts.
rich for me. Yeah,
it's an easy fade, and not because I don't think he's good. I think he's really good, but I think he's going to play 90 games.
Yeah, interesting.
I think that's very possible.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all, because 9 times out of 10, or what history has shown us, and he was hurt last year too. People forget about that. Like, he wasn't fully healthy. He didn't play 160 games, 158 games or anything like that. He missed some time. And that's just kind of his MO. And I get it. Like, counting stats are nice on paper, but for a 6th round pick and the guys that were going around that range, I'm just not putting any draft stock into that. I'm with you on Byron Buxton. I will not have any shares. But to your point, I'm glad you brought that up. It really depends on the build, like you said. Like, am I targeting him at, what I mean by bust or maybe do not draft is maybe more so of like where they're currently being drafted at an ADP.
Yeah.
But again, not to say that I'm completely closed-minded without taking these guys. If for instance, a lot of these players go off the board and I need somebody with a high ceiling, I'll maybe I'll consider it. But where they're currently going, I'm not drafting Byron Buxton for sure. And mine's strictly based off of the injury history, and we've just seen it too many times to not think that's not going to continue. So.
And I did want to say something about the spring training stats. I think the best way to use them is if the player is doing good, you don't move them up your board. You take them where you feel like he is valued.
Right. Yep.
That's how much you should use it. And if they aren't doing well, there's a difference between Jordan Walker, who's not doing well. That scares me. Than, Manny Machado not doing well. Right. So
right. I think it's some of those guys like we talked about before, like the top 100, top 150 guys, if they're having bad springs or maybe they haven't found their groove yet, I'm not worried about it from that front. Yeah. But to your point, I like that as well. That's a good strategy. If they're playing well, maybe it's somebody you're targeting at cost and maybe taking a flyer on later in draft.
That's what it does for me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Matt McClain, where he's going. I don't mind that. Good.
Right. But then what you see, I think too, like even with a guy like Matt McClain, I think his draft price has increased since we've seen him produce so well.
2 rounds.
Yeah. Like, man, because we saw this from him last year too. Like, we joke about it on this show. Like, I was tweeting at Govier and Britain being like, Matt McClain's back, baby. And then he didn't do shit in the regular season. So we could definitely see that again. All right. Who's your second bust that you got here, Marty?
Of this list, who do I want to go with? I'm going to go with somebody who's actually being taken high, Cade Smith.
Ooh, yeah. Dave, I think it was Dave or Eric when we had them on. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was David who said that he was out on Cade Smith as well. But interested to hear your take on why you're out on him.
If you want to play in that world of closers in the 2nd, 3rd round, get Diaz, get Miller, get Duran. There's no reason if Cade's the last one, like Smith's the last one, just wait, go get a bat. That's just the way I feel about it. He hasn't done it for a full year.
Right.
So he's being taken as if he's, one of the best closers in the game. And for the small sample size that he's played, I guess he is. For a full season of it, he could do it. I just don't see a reason to spend a 3rd or 4th round pick on that.
Yeah, agreed. And I think he's going as a number 4 RP off the board, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think he's in front of Aroldis Chapman and behind, I want to say Munoz or Duran. I can't remember who's 4. I want to say it was Duran. But yeah, I'm with you on that one. And maybe people are banking on he's going to be the next Emmanuel Clase, and I don't think that's close. I had a couple shares of Cade Smith when we heard the news of Clase being out for the rest of the year. And David brought it up as well, because I totally forgot about this. If you watch any of his games, he had a lot of hits, a lot of walks. It was very stressful for him. And he brought up a good point. Some guys are just better off pitching in the 8th than they are in the 9th. There's been plenty of guys that we've seen that from that just don't have the closer mentality, if you will. So you're investing a lot in a guy that hasn't done it long enough, in my opinion. But if you're looking to target one of those elite closers, I'm with you 100%, Marty. Go get a Diaz, go get a Munoz or Duran, some of those other guys. So let me ask you this question. Would you rather have a Roldis Chapman or Cade Smith?
Chapman's on my do not draft.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want anything to do with Chapman. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I would take Smith for sure. I mean, and he still had a 1.00 whip. So he didn't get, maybe they were, I don't know. It was pretty scarce, the hits and the walks.
Do you think do you think a lot of that came from his production, maybe as an 8th guy instead of a 9th guy? Or I'd be interested to know that. I generally don't know.
That is a really good question.
Yeah.
That is, but then it's hard. This is something that you can't put into a numeric value, right?
Sure.
Does that mentally weigh on him to be the 9th inning guy? Is that, man, I don't know. You'd have to know him personally.
Yeah, exactly. I believe I'm an O's fan, obviously, and I believe when they put Yenny Cano in the 8th, 9th, he actually came out and said, "I don't want to pitch in the 9th, man. I'm an 8th guy. I don't like pitching as a closer." So I'm not saying Cade Smith's going to be that guy. I just found that interesting. But all right, so you're out on a Roldis Chapman. I actually, as my first closer, I have a Roldis Chapman off top in TGFBI here because closers went quick, and I wanted to get my hands on a guy that could strike guys out as well. So I didn't want to wait too long on it. I knew I wasn't going to target the top 4, but I wanted to go after Chapman. So I'm hoping you're wrong, just simply because the fact because I have a share of him. But
every relief pitcher has a price. I mean, you got to do what you got to do in these drafts. The RPs get pushed up so much. I drafted Edwin Diaz. I have a lot of Mason Miller. Like I'm playing that second, third, late 2nd, early 3rd round reliever game. You have to do it. Home leagues, and I'll be doing my home league in a week or 2. No, I'm sure they'll just be, there isn't this feast for it, this need for it. So knowing your draft pool is really important too for everybody prepping. That's just knowing who you're drafting with. Take an extra time. And I do this too. I do have an auction with my home league. I go through the years and I document how much people are spending on each player.
Ooh,
so I know.
I love that.
Because it's the same guys every year, right? So I know exactly what guys they like. And so you can use that to your advantage by throwing them out there, bidding them up a dollar or two. Not that, we're kind of spiraling into auction strategy, but
that is a solid point. And I think more and more sites, I believe Yahoo does this with football. I don't know if they do this for baseball.
Probably not.
Yeah. They do. Like if you have the same league and you renew it, they give you kind of insights in terms of how other teams draft notoriously.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember if that was
CBS does that.
Yeah.
It sounds like something CBS would do.
Right. It's either on Yahoo or if you link it to Fantasy Pros, it'll tell you that. I can't remember what it is, but it'll give you kind of those insights. So those of you guys who are watching, regardless if you play an auction or not, it's actually a really good point, Marty. If you have played in a league with the same group of guys, pay attention to where they target pitchers, even if you don't play an auction, right? Like pay attention to where closers go. If you have like 4 or 5 guys who value, third base or outfielders or SPs, quicker, whatever it may be. That's good.
Don't go crazy. Don't spend 2 hours on it. Just, 15 minutes, just kind of look and like, okay. So that way you have, especially if you're on the end.
Right.
Or you're close to the end. You're going to have to play that game. Like, is he going to take that player? I don't know.
Right. It's good intel. I think that's a really good point, and something that I should probably get into more with my buddies. But my guys that I do my home league with, and this is on Sunday, they draft all over the place, so it's impossible to kind of figure some of these guys out. I do have one guy that I have a strategy on. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Last thing I want to say on Chapman.
Yep.
6.6 walk rate. He's never done that before.
Maybe Boston helped him and then got something ironed out with him.
Wouldn't that be ironic that Boston is the one that revamps his career after being a Yankee for so long? He's 38 years old. He's built like a racehorse. I mean, the guy's clear. I don't know how he hasn't been busted yet. The guy's a monster.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm hoping that it translates into we might be due for a little bit of regression from him. And speaking of headaches, when we talked about with Cade Smith before he got to Boston, this is the only thing I'm wary on because when he played for Texas, Pittsburgh, some of these other teams that he was playing on, they had him in the 8th, and then they had him in the 9th, and he was all over the place. You'd get like really, really good games from him in the 8th, and then he'd get vaulted in the closer role in Texas and would just shit the bed left and right. So I liked him. If you're playing like a K per 9 league, he's a good guy to own. But yeah, the age, I did not realize how old he was too. That age scares me a little bit. But to your point, like you said, he's a racehorse. So I'm hoping I get one more good season out of him. Marty, before we get into our sleepers, is there anybody on? I know you said you had a healthy list of busts. Anybody else you want to quickly talk about?
I just want everyone to know I was out on Pablo Lopez before that injury happened because I knew that was going to happen. So I was so bummed that he got injured in spring training. I was like, man, if he just could have pushed it back a month.
Right.
But no, I mean, I don't want anything to do with Blake Snell. I have him in my AFL AFL draft champions league.
Okay.
And that's a disaster. You're going to lose him for up to 6 weeks. Cody Bellinger, I'm out on him as well. He's already having back problems. He's a little bit older.
Interesting.
Outfield, I feel like you can wait on outfield. Not for like your first outfielder, get a stud, but like your second, third, fourth, fifth. I don't mind waiting to pass 250. So I don't see a reason. Trey Savage, I'm out on him. And Jeff Hoffman. We'll do the 2 Blue Jays to end it.
Okay. Trey Savage, is that mainly because of the news that came out about him and then limiting his innings this year?
Yeah, limiting his innings is just a limited track record.
Yeah.
When I compare his stuff to others, I like if not that you should just only compare him to the other rookie stars. I don't know if that's such a good exercise to do. But just it's too much of an unknown for where he's going.
Right. I want to get with Joe's question here because this is an interesting one because I did draft him in TGFBI as well. What are your thoughts on Zack Wheeler? He had the lesser, I guess, I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on this, but I've heard that his thoracic outlet syndrome was one of the lesser of the 3 different types I think that there are, and it's less invasive. Any thoughts on Zack Wheeler? And before I get into that, I'm not saying like, are we going to expect the top, 3 or 4 pitchers off the board next year, Zack Wheeler? I'm talking like, even if we got like half of that, do you think he has potential to be a top 15, top 10 starting pitcher this year, or are you out on him completely?
The answer is both.
Okay.
I am fully out on him. He went in the 11th round in my TGFBI league. So put that in perspective.
Yeah.
Nate Eovaldi, Bubba Chandler, Gavin Williams, Tatsuya Mai, Mackenzie Gore. There is a world where he definitely outperforms all of them. Now, with that injury, we just it's too big of a question mark. I think I can understand it if you have 10 leagues and you want to take them in one of them. I think that's a good idea. I also think it's a good idea if you play in a 10-team league. The shallower the better. But it's a certain price for a certain reason. I am getting FOMO a little bit because the news coming out is encouraging. Yeah. And it's moving him up draft boards. But I made the decision at the beginning of draft season with that type of injury. It's just too much of a question mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I have some shares. I did draft him in TGFBI and I did slightly reach on him. I think I took him in the 9th round of TGFBI and I didn't think he would make his way back just because of all the hype that was coming up. And I wanted.
Who were your prior SPs? Like, what was that? Your SP4?
He is my SP3. I had Chris Sale and Cole Reagans ahead of him.
Okay. I mean, that. Why not? At that point, whatever. You're either going to win this whole damn thing or you're going to be out of it by fucking July.
Right. Yeah. So I
love it.
I wanted it simply because of the fact of I didn't want to miss out. And let's just say, and I love playing the what if. And I think a lot of the times in the industry, a lot of people talk about it, rightfully so, talk about the injuries and like, hey, I just don't think he's going to be able to produce to X, Y, and Z and whatever it may be. I get that 100%. But I also like playing the other side of that coin. What if he is one of those guys that just comes out and he's like, hey, I'm past the shoulder injury. I'm good. Like I said, it's one of those surgeries where it wasn't as aggressive as the other types of thoracic outlet. And he delivers top 10 SP season, and I got 3 legit SPs, aces going for my team, right? So I always look at it from that lens. I try to be optimistic, but I also need to play a little bit smarter with the rest of my drafts moving forward in terms of just being safer. But I do think there is something to be said to being aggressive on some of these guys that you can get a discount on. And Wheeler, I wanted to get simply because of what you said in terms of the news being more and more encouraging. I think, especially what we've heard from him, his timeline keeps getting bumped up. So I think he starts the season on the IL. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him in April, though, Marty. I think we can see him in mid to late April, and him being maybe babied early on just to see how he feels. But I like him a lot.
Yesterday, he threw a live batting practice session.
There you go. So we're in what, mid-March? So he's
mid-March. He's throwing BP.
So
May.
maybe more in that late. Yeah, I was gonna say late April, May timeframe might be a little bit more realistic. But I think they're also gonna play it safe with him because I think they're gonna play the long game, long season. It would be smart to do that, especially if the guy. Yeah,
that team has to win.
And Andrew Painter looks terrible.
Do or die time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Andrew Painter today against my O's, but he's not striking anybody out. Fastball doesn't look good. And I know he's dealing with his own share of injuries as well. But you're right. They need him. So they'll play it safe with him. So now that I think about it more, we're probably looking at May. But all right. I have a couple of guys I wanted to hear really quickly before we move on to your targets here, or I'm sorry, your sleepers. If you've followed me, if you watched any of our shows before, you know I'm out on PCA. Any strong thoughts there? Because I feel like the industry's split. I feel like there's a lot of people who are like easy, second rounder, third rounder, whatever we're talking. I can't remember where his ADP is because I don't know. I don't have any shares of him.
I want to probably say mid threes. That's about.
He's going as a top 50 pick. Yeah.
I know. Never mind. He went just at the end of the second round in TGFBI.
There you go. So what are your thoughts on him? Do you have any shares? And is this one of these guys where it's like, hey, it depends?
In the fall, for some reason, like during AFL, during that time, first pitch Arizona, you could get PCA at the back end of the third round. And that's where I liked it. I thought that was really good. You start you get the 13, 14, 15 pick, you get a hitter or two, and then you get PCA. I like that. Back end of the second round? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
I just not. I just don't see why in the second half. Yeah.
For like an overall, but I'd just rather have. I'd rather have Jackson Chourio, who's going before him to that point. But I'd rather have Wyatt Langford in the fourth or fifth.
Oh, 100%. That's not even close for me. I would 1,000,000% take Wyatt Langford over PCA. The thing that I think that a lot of people are forgetting is, and maybe they aren't, and they just don't care. He had a brutal second half, Marty, like a really, really bad second half. And a lot of those counting stats that you're looking at when you see the 30-30 season came from the first half. He had an elite first half of the season, and teams started figuring him out. So I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's been known to happen before, but I don't know how you could go into a draft selecting him in the second or third round thinking I'm okay with how he played in the second half, and thinking that's I'm not saying could he be as bad as that? No, I think he'll be a little bit better. He's still learning, still growing.
He's somewhere in the middle, I think.
Yeah, but I'm just not willing to spend that draft price on him. It's too risky for me.
Yeah. So the last, after the All-Star break, he batted .216. He had 6 homers compared to 25.
That's what I'm saying.
Pre-All-Star game.
Yep.
He had only 8 stolen bases to 27 that he had before.
That's
so it was I think a part of it is pitchers adjusting to someone in the league that like now they pay attention to. They're actually going to take that extra time. They don't want PCA to punk them, so they're going to try as hard as they possibly can to make sure that doesn't happen. Now it's PCA's turn to adjust. So you have to what you're betting on is that the Cubs are able to get the most out of him and to be able to see how he learns and corrects himself. Because that's what baseball is. It's everyone just constantly correcting, themselves. So we'll see. I'd rather not. I have 0 shares.
Yeah. I'm out on him. I'm not touching him with a 40-foot pole. So, all right, let's get into some of your targets here. Who are some of your sleepers? What are some sleepers that you're targeting this year in drafts?
Yeah, so I want to look at my actual like draft board here from. Okay, Cade Cavalli. Is that good enough? Is that
that's
like
sleeper territory? Of course,
sleeper territory. Yeah, I mean, his stuff's up in spring. Everything looks good there. He's going to be the Nationals, number one starter coming on an opening day. For where you're getting him, I mean, it's basically free.
Yep.
So I can't see a reason where he's going that you wouldn't take that chance. Right. I don't know. I don't know if you have any feelings toward him, but
I tried to get him in TGFBI and I got sniped on him. I like what he's done so far in spring. And I am going to bring up something that when I was targeting him, and I'm like, all right, this is my next pick. And then he got taken. This is part of the reason why I liked him is I'm going to bring up his StatCast page. If you're watching us on YouTube, lots of like here, Marty. The chase percentage, right? Good ground ball rate, good barrel rate, ranking in the plus 90% percentile there. Again, ERAs, maybe something a little bit to be a little left to be desired with the 4.25, and his xERA was actually not too far off from that at a 4.16. So, but people forget too, this was a guy coming up for them that was supposed to be, the next guy there in Washington. Still a lot of 27-year-olds we've talked about in this on tonight's show, but round one pick, so number 22 overall. So. I like that pick a lot, and I don't have any shares of him. And I was sleeping on this whole part of it of his game, really. So I think this is a guy that it has tremendous upside. 6'4", 223. He's going to get the ball on opening day. I think this is a guy that you can add as what, Marty, like maybe an SP6, SP7, or is he a guy that you're thinking higher? Okay.
Yeah, SP6, SP7. I think he can perform to SP4 level. I think that's in the cards. So across 9 innings in spring training, he has a 28.1% K rate and a 6.3% walk rate. So 22% K minus walk rate, 0 earned runs across those 9 innings. He's gotten lucky with the bat. I mean, a 53% BABIP average BABIP. So I mean, that's not. But yeah, this is where I do look to spring training stats more for pitchers who are younger. I think there's a lot to learn there.
Yep, absolutely, totally agree with that. Love the pick. Who else you got?
Let's see. I have a couple different ones I'm thinking of. You go. I'm gonna think of. I'm between 2.
No worries. There's like I've already mentioned a couple that I think would fall into the quote unquote sleeper territory. A lot of guys, obviously we've already talked about. One guy that I am cautiously optimistic on is Spencer Steer, who has gone down tremendously in drafts because you got Sal Stewart there. You got Eugenio Suarez. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on Spencer Steer. He was hurt last year with, I believe, that shoulder injury that zapped him. He's going to rotate all over the place in that offense. I think he'll be their starting left fielder, if I'm not mistaken, at last from what I read. I like him from the ballpark, the lineup, and the fact that he can chip in both in homers and steals and play all over the place too. So you hope that he gets eligibility in the outfield, first base. That's primarily where he's going to play. I just think there's a spot in drafts where you can get him super late, and I think a lot of people are forgetting about him. If he can, he's really just got to stay healthy. That's his main thing, and I think he'll have an everyday position there with Cincinnati. I know a lot of people are kind of, where does he play at kind of thing, and maybe he's platooned. But to your point earlier with Mickey Moniak, he's my version of Mickey Moniak for you. I think we would have seen similar numbers for him in a situation if he had stayed healthy. We would have seen double-digit pop. He's given us double-digit steals before in the past. I like Spencer Steer as a guy that you can target later in drafts, and I think people are sleeping on him based off of the results that he gave us last year.
If everything goes right, I think he's Jordan Beck.
Yeah, right. You're right.
That's around 240, 250, 20, maybe a 2020, 2020 season. I mean, he doesn't strike out a lot. I mean, 22%, it's not too bad. I mean, the walk rate, it was 9% last year, 11% the year before. So he's getting on base at a good clip. So that's something you want to see more of. But a 97 WRC plus, I think he's fine. I think for where he's going, that's a 2020 guys, all you can hope for.
I'm throwing out last year as an outlier because he was hurt. So I'm looking at more at the 2024 and 2023 numbers. 2024, he went 20 homers, 25 stolen bases. 2023, he went 23 and 15 with a 271 average, and scored 74 runs in both of those years as well. So let's just say if we took an average of those 2 years there, Marty, give us 20 homers, 20 stolen bases, maybe a 250, 260 batting average. Maybe that's maybe a little too high, and scores 70 runs. I'll take that much later in drafts as well. And he's not one of my starters currently, I don't think, but as a bench bat,
especially at first base, or I mean, if you need to plug him in at first base, if you can get 15 stolen bases from your first baseman and you can make up for that power somewhere else, so maybe a Matt Wallner at the end of your draft or a Jorge Soler, I love it.
Yeah. So I find myself being more into a Spencer Steer type. And again, I think for the Reds, they're a team that I think a lot of people are going to be sleeping on as well. They have a tremendous talent in that team. And I think Spencer Steer can be right in the middle of that in terms of just playing a good offense, good ballpark. We talk a lot about with the Coors guys. I like a lot of Reds guys this year too, just simply because of the fact of they're the Great American ballpark, right? So I'm in on Eugenio Suarez again. When he was with Seattle before he signed, I'm like, I'm out. Now that he's back with Cincinnati, I'm like, you pulled me back in. I'll take it. So Spencer Steer's a guy I think you can get cheap pop and get some double-digit steals from, especially like you said at first base. So,
yep. All right, I've come to my decision of who I'd like to introduce.
All right, let's hear it.
And it's only because I have him in I think 6 out of 8 leagues. Steven Matz, Tampa Bay Rays.
Wow. Okay, I like that.
Yep.
Why do you like him?
Yeah, so last year, 338 xERA. He does not walk people at all. 3.6% walk rate. He keeps the ball on the ground. He generates weak contact. And as of now, he should be a back-end starter for the Rays. And you look at his stuff plus, 104. Location, 110. Pitching plus, 109. He's projected for around like a 3.8 ERA, and he is going, I think, in the 400s.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he, as your last SP, you could do worse than Steven Matz. He's my guy for the entire year. He's like, that's the guy who I have the most of, so I have to wear it. Steven Matz, baby.
There you go. I like it. And like you talked about before, right? Like Tampa Bay knows what they're doing with SP. So if there's anybody that can get him rolling, I like that for sure. So I don't have any shares, but I don't know if he's still available in my league, but I might look at that for to see if he's still available.
464 ADP. He's going to be playing half his games at the Trop.
Yep.
The Trop's the third worst hitters park. Third worst.
Wow. Some ballpark factor there. Something else that a lot of people don't put a lot of weight into or don't maybe look into enough is what I meant to say. But you should be putting some weight into that in terms of where they're pitching their home games at. Detroit is another good pitcher's ballpark as well as the Trop. So where does Detroit rank on that, Marty? Do you know?
Yeah, it's funny because last year it was actually a top 10 hitters park, which is weird because that's the first time that's ever happened.
Right.
Let me see specifically. Sorry, the 13th. They were 13th, but they had a 100 park factor where triple's a 144. That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
So pretty much neutral, but I think even pretty much skewed. Actually, let me see because it's doing. Actually, no. Take it all back. Listeners, delete that. Let's start over again. Third, yeah, that's what I thought. It was doing the 3-year rolling average. Last year, Comerica Park, the third best hitters park.
Yeah.
Third best. 105 park factor overall, a 114 for home runs. So this goes into just overall park factors are wonky. I wouldn't base anything off only this 1 year.
Of course, yeah.
I've actually read into how they do it, and I'm not going to get into it, but it takes a long time for that data to come out. So look at the 3-year rolling average. Overall, it's a Comerica Park is it's always been a pitcher's park until recently, and I'm very interested to see how it breaks down. But for the Trop, 96.
There you go.
26th, tied for the third worst.
With Tampa Bay, I saw somebody else talking about it, and forgive me if you're watching. Ian Seymour, there's a lot. Joe Boyle, there's a lot of talent in this Rays rotation, and not enough for rotation spots. I do think they'll go 6-man to keep some of these guys healthy, like a Shane McClanahan. And I was talking with Govier on Twitter about it as well. Like, it's be interesting where they fit all these guys in at, right? Because like we talked about, one thing Tampa Bay knows how to do is just crank out starting pitching. So we might.
And they're very good at roster manipulation.
You're right.
They do.
100%.
They pretty much started that, and then the Dodgers took over, and the Dodgers have perfected it. But yeah, they're the first ones that really use. They bring somebody up, put somebody down. They use every single thing they could possibly do. Number one, to save money, but also because it does really help to have the freshest arms you can.
Right.
I wanted to just look up McClanahan. So he allowed 2 hits and no walks in 2 scoreless innings on Tuesday's Grapefruit League against the Phillies. He struck out 1. He's pitching.
Yep. How do you feel about Shane McClanahan? Kind of. Yeah, exactly. How do you feel about Shane McClanahan? It's kind of in the same breath as Zack Wheeler here. Injured guy. We've seen a lot of injuries from him over the past couple of years. Do you have any shares of him, or are you one of those guys too you're just out on?
I have one share.
Somebody's got to take him. Yeah. This is the thing that kind of
round,
bothers me.
I think.
Yeah.
I have
everyone talks about
one league.
Okay. That's fair. I get that. This is the thing that kind of bothers me with Shane McClanahan. Like, somebody's got to have to take him, right? Like, I know everyone's like, out, don't draft him, whatever. He's had injuries, but he shouldn't be sitting around on anybody's waiver wire if you play in like a 12-teamer, or, he shouldn't be floating around, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, he's the perfect guy to draft in a 10 or 12 team league. He's somebody you want to draft, because if he's not good, you drop him and you move on, and you have replacements. It'll be fine.
Right. And I do I think we'll see like that version of Shane McClanahan before he got hurt when he was an early Cy Young favorite? No. Maybe that takes some time for him to kind of get back into that, and the injuries do have me concerned, but I don't know, man. This is one of those guys too, where again, like you talked about, you can get later in drafts. Who knows? Maybe we see a resurgent season from him if he can stay healthy. But Marty, speaking of starting pitching, I do want to get this on the books really quick.
One last thing on McClanahan. He's moved up 15th round in TGFBI. He's going now around Ryan Nelson, Zach Gallen, Aaron Nola, Shane Baz.
Okay. I don't hate that.
No, I wouldn't do it. I'd rather have Nola, something tried and true. Yeah. That's too early. 20th, 22nd round, when I got him, that's fine.
Right.
You can take that, but I don't know, the 15th round, that's you're going to need he's going to be your SP4.
Yeah. Nola for me is one of those guys where I draft him. Like, I was out on him for so long, and I did it for a long time, but before last year, he was about as consistent as you can get in terms of just strikeouts. I mean, he was a 200 strikeout guy year in and year out, and dealt with a lot of injuries last year. So I'm hoping he gets back to that. He's a guy that I'm intrigued on at where he's going in drafts right now. One of the starting pitchers we haven't talked about yet, Marty, before we go off the air here, Matthew Liberatore. Do you want to talk about him?
Man, and I tweeted this earlier. Like, like draft season is funny. You sit around, you do all of this prep. You spend your winter going up and down StatCast and FanGraphs and all that different type of stuff, and then all of a sudden, you're bummed out because you didn't get more Matthew Liberatore on your team. That's where I'm at right now. I wish I had more of them. I only have them in one league, and everything that we've seen in spring training, it's just been. I mean, it's been pretty crazy. I don't know if you saw Eno's Stuff Plus leaders at the start of spring training. Where is he? Liberatore's thrown 155 pitches. Stuff Plus 118. Location plus 124. Pitching plus 135. I mean, Richard Fitz is also on this list, so tread lightly. Shout out to Braxton Ashcraft, who's on this list as well. But so is Chris Sale, Yuri Perez, Cole Reagans.
So you got some good names on that list as well. Yeah.
So
I saw your tweet earlier, and I went into one of my leagues, and just because I needed like a SP flyer just to fill out my roster. So
lefty
I took Yeah, I took a shot on him and see where it goes. I think the cool thing about it is, like you said, if he doesn't do well, you drop him. He's literally at that very, very, very end of my bench. So he's still only 26, Marty. There's plenty of time. He was drafted in 2018.
He's the race, right? Isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't he taking the ball on day one?
He should be.
Day? I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah.
Yep. So I don't hate it, man. I think this is one of those. Hopefully he can translate some of spring training over into the regular season.
Man, those Stud Plus numbers are crazy.
I know. Very
crazy.
Good. Very good. Like I said, hopefully we see that. We talk again maybe in May or June, and we're like, man, Matthew Liberatore, chef's kiss.
That's why I didn't have any. You know,
right?
Stinks.
Right. Marty, before we head off the air, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find your work, and anything else you want to say before we head out.
Well, thank you very much for having me on, Mike. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
As I've always said, you are one of the best in this space. You are, and I think I've said this to you before, like, you represent what I want more of in fantasy baseball space. Instead of people talking about, is TGFBI more important? Like, you're friendly, you're upbeat, you know, you do really good with the guests, and you create a safe environment for everybody. So it's a lot of fun. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ooh, I'm up now in TGFBI.
Ooh, can you you want to pull it up?
Do I know how to do that? Let's see.
I don't know if you have the capabilities at the bottom of the screen where share screen. It's the third icon next to the camera one.
I made the mistake of moving it, so now I think I'm frozen. But while this loads, if it does, you can find me on Twitter at Marty_Tallman. You'll find my work at Rotoballer. I have an article coming out Monday, the top 4 American League sleepers.
Ooh,
so
like that.
Maybe one of the guys I talked about today might be in it. I don't know.
Okay,
but
I'll have to check that out.
But yeah, thanks again for having me on. I don't think it's going to load. I'm probably frozen. Is my video frozen? Yeah. That's what I thought.
It is. So it's a good time to head out.
All right, man.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it for you guys for tuning in. I know we didn't get to all the questions in here. I apologize, but you can hit up myself on Twitter at _MikeVA or at Marty_Tallman on Twitter. You guys hit us up there if you have questions. Marty, thanks for all your work, man. I've said this about you and Dave and Eric and I had a good conversation off air when we talked, but you guys were one of the first pods that I got into when I started getting into fantasy baseball content, and you guys are all just real good group of people. So I really enjoy having you guys on. Yeah, dude. Awesome. It's hard to find that in today's space with everybody's egos. So it's nice to have that and just talk baseball, man. It's fun. And thank you very much for coming on and spending your Friday night with us. So
you're welcome. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much. We'll see you on Sunday. Make sure you check out myself and Michael Govier. He got stuck. Did not get to go to Tout Wars this weekend. His flight got canceled, but we'll talk more about it on Sunday. All right. We'll see y'all later. Thanks so much.
Carlos Delgado.
Excellent choice. Too bad I got him 3 rounds ago.
You're still on the clock.
Oh, shit!
You gotta do something.
Hideki Matsui. You just took my whole outfield.
Sorry, Charlie.
What is this?
Debbie.
What the fuck is this?
It's our fantasy baseball draft. We said no wives.
Your fantasy what?
It's our draft. For fantasy baseball. I told you all about this. Got Matsui.